The actual research was published on April 24th, 2012. The author expresses gratitude to those who, during this time, have cited the source when publishing the results and ideas of the study. The icon of Christ Pantocrator from St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai is an extraordinary example of the union of expression and calm. This encaustic icon, dating from the mid-6th century, depicts Jesus Christ in the Pantocrator iconography. It is considered the oldest known iconographic representation of Christ. The icon was created in Constantinople in the mid-6th century and was sent by Emperor Justinian as a gift to St. Catherine's Monastery, for which he was simultaneously constructing a basilica and fortified walls. The icon was discovered in the monastery in the 19th century. It was later established that the icon was likely retouched with tempera painting in the 13th century. During the restoration of the icon in 1962, the original wax surface was cleaned. This icon laid the foundation for the subsequent iconographic portrayal of Christ's face in the domes of Byzantine churches, notably influencing the asymmetry of the face. According to art historians, this asymmetry is what gives the figure of Christ its unusual and compelling appeal, where the two halves of his face are often interpreted as allegories of Christ the merciful and Christ the rejecting, representing the union of the earthly and the heavenly. This is a rather dry and academic explanation. The light, sliding from right to left or left to right from the viewer's perspective, creates a strong contrast of light and shadow on the left side of the face, right for the viewer, distorting the area around the eye, mouth, nose, and beard. The draped himation, which covers the left side of the neck, further enhances the asymmetry, compounded by a long strand of hair on the left side of the head. The right side of the face, in contrast, is bathed in light, with a calm, almost sorrowful expression, and the pupil of the right eye directed slightly upward, just above the viewer's head. The subtle misalignment of the pupil in the right eye creates the illusion that Christ is looking through and beyond the viewer. Meanwhile, the pupil of the left, shadowed eye is shifted slightly to the left of its anatomical position, enhancing the unusual gaze of Christ. It seems as if he is looking at the viewer from any angle of movement, and at the same time, through and beyond them. This clever technique was later used frequently in portrait painting, which is why some old portraits are known for their magnetic gaze. However, unlike them and the Fayum portraits, which influenced the creation of the Pantocrator, the eyes here lack any reflections. This technique would later become a standard in the iconographic portrayal of Christ's face. It is believed that this deliberate asymmetry was influenced by theological debates of the time regarding the dual nature of Christ. Yes, the dual nature. Two Christs, two faces in one image. But do they resemble each other? This question inevitably arises when contemplating this image. The left shadowed eye prompts it. When viewed as a whole, this eye gives a strange impression, as though it is either bruised or blind. This is caused by the exaggerated, unnatural asymmetry of the dark half of the face and the deep violet shadow around the left eye. Yet, when comparing both eyes individually, this strange effect disappears. The eyes appear healthy, but quite different. Such asymmetry is impossible for a human face with normal physiology and anatomy. Of course, slight asymmetry exists in every human face, but typically it is not so pronounced, and the two halves of the face retain the common features of the full human face. Here, however, we see two eyes belonging to two completely different faces. The eyebrows, eye sockets, depth of the eye cavities, brow arches, wings of the nose, lips, even the contours of the mustache and beard on both halves of the face are completely different, as if taken from two separate people and merged together. Even the width of the cheekbones, the position of the earlobe, and the neck's width are entirely different. This visual deformation cannot be explained by the usual three-quarters head turn seen in portraiture. Christ's face is depicted frontally, so facial features, allowing for natural physiological asymmetry, should be identical. Even the restored image from a Shroud of Turin shows that there are no such severe anatomical distortions. So, what is the cause if we disregard the hypotheses of art historians? Let us conduct an experiment. Close, for example, the right illuminated side of Christ's face. Then close the left. What happens is quite unusual. Two distinct individuals will appear before you. Two completely different people with different gazes, skull structures, anatomical features, hairstyles, and even different beards. The clothing also differs. On the right side, the cloak only slightly covers the neck, leaving the lower jaw exposed, while the left side creates a high collar and a proud head position. The color of the clothing is also distinct, with the himation turning into a lilac blue chitin. Let's continue the experiment and mirror the two halves to create two faces. The symmetry of the faces should not distort the overall appearance, even considering the light and shadow. The result will be a true revelation. You will now be looking at two different individuals, each with unique features and gaze. The eyes no longer look through and above you. They now look directly at you. The sorrowful, sad gaze of the light side, with the corners of the lips turned down, the V-shaped beard, backward-combed hair, and purple chitin. And the stern, angry gaze of the other face, dark, broad, with full lips, a split beard, a wider nose, and a grim look, enhanced by darkened irises, with pronounced nasolabial folds and sharply raised mustache. These are no longer two natures of Christ, nor two aspects of Christ, the merciful and the rejecting. These are two people, very similar but different, like twins. The dark doppelganger. He and I are one. We share the same root. We are creations of the one. I am he, and he is I, but we come from different realms. I am the light, and he is the dark doppelganger. But which one is the doppelganger? What did the unknown artist intend to convey by so skillfully masking two people in one figure, leaving only the superficial ecclesiastical allegory? Was this a coincidental artistic technique or a deliberate idea? We may never know, but the light Christ and the dark Christ remain eternally fused in the strange, fractured face like Siamese twins, one who possesses the gospel and the world, while the other gazes into another realm, blessing every passerby.